A well-known American dancer and choreographer, Martha Graham, is known for saying, "Nobody cares if you can't dance well. Just get up and dance." Great dancers are great because of their passion. Hello, my name is Cal Wodrowski, and I'd like to welcome you to this third lesson in this brand new series of dance lessons on how to do the rhythm two-step. I'm going to break down the basic footwork for this dance into 3 lessons. In this particular lesson, I'm going to do more of an overview of the footwork. This will be general information that will apply to both the gentlemen and the ladies. In the next lesson, I will teach the gentleman's footwork, and then the lesson after that, I'll be teaching the ladies' footwork. Those next 2 lessons will each have a supplemental practice lesson for beginners who would like to practice the basic footwork along with some music and some counting. In this lesson, Shelley and I will be demonstrating a number of variations in how this footwork can be done and different ways you might see it taught. I'm hopeful that this information is helpful to you as we move on in these lessons. However, I realize that there may be some people that might just find it all a bit confusing. So if you're one of those people who's not interested in this extra information, or if you start to feel a bit confused with this, you can always just consider skipping this particular lesson and going on to the next lesson. Also, some of the ways that I see the basic footwork taught for this dance are very different from the ways that I've seen it done over the past 25 years when I've gone out country dancing. However, since most of the people that are teaching it are professional dance instructors, I'm quite confident that each of them has their very own good reasons for teaching it the way that they do. So if you're someone who has already learned the basic footwork for this dance and you do it in a manner that's different from the way that I'm teaching it, I am not at all suggesting that you should change the way that you do it. Even if you do the footwork in one of the other ways, you can still do all the stuff that we're going to be teaching in these lessons just fine. So let's go ahead and bring Shelley out here and get started with this. Okay, before we get started, I wanted to let you know that my dance partner who will be helping me not only with this little overview that we're doing, but with also the lessons in this series, and that is Shelley Olson. I want to thank you for helping me with this. Shelley was a major help when I did the original series a while back, and she's interested in participating in this brand new series that I'm doing. So, by the way, as we do this, don't worry right now about trying to follow along with what we're doing. This is just going to be intended to be a quick overview or the gist of the footwork for this dance, plus a little bit on some of the variations that you might see in the ways that it's taught. So, most people will tend to agree with this dance that no matter how you do the basic footwork, it's 2 steps in one direction and 1 step in the opposite direction, or 4 beats in one direction and 2 in the opposite direction. In other words, showing the gentleman's footwork, it would go a step, and then back. A step, and then back. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Or if you were going to count it, because it's a 6-count pattern, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, there are a few different ways that you can take 2 steps in one direction and then 1 in the opposite. One of them is the way we just showed. That would be to the left and to the right. Another way that you might see it taught is the gentleman going forward. And that, even though I know you can't see Shelley right now, I've got a reason why I'm doing it at this angle. So it would be to the gentleman going forward. We're going to take a step, and then back. A step, and then back. The other way that you might see it taught would be kind of a little bit of a combination of the 2, and that would be an angle. It's kind of obvious. I probably don't really need to show it, but I'm going to. It's just the way of my people. So, here we go. A step, and then back. A step, and then back. Now, the problem with those 3 ways we showed you is if you do the footwork in one of those 3 ways, it's a traveling dance. You're going to be moving around the dance floor, and most everybody would tend to agree that this is a stationary dance, otherwise known as a spot dance. So, I like to teach the basic footwork right from the get-go in a way that will remain stationary. And the way that I've done it for years and the way that I teach it and many other people teach it is by taking smaller steps to the left than you do to the right. You could do this going forward or on an angle too, but I tend to go mostly to the left. So this is the way that we're going to break the footwork down and be teaching it,
and that is going to be taking smaller steps to the gentleman's left than you do to the right, smaller to the left than you do to the right. Now we're going to go ahead while we're doing this, and we're going to turn around so you can see Shelly's feet from the back. She's obviously just doing the same thing. She's taking a little bit smaller steps to her right than she is to her left. Smaller to the right than she does to the left. If we do this, we can stand in one place on the dance floor, we can visit. If we're not doing any moves, we can stay in one part of the dance floor because it remains stationary, because we're adjusting the size of our steps. So that's the way that I'll be teaching it and the way that I recommend doing it. But another common way that I want to let you know, and that would be remaining stationary by making it a circular pattern. So we'll go ahead and show that. This is another fairly common way that country dance instructors will teach this. So with this alternative way, instead of making smaller steps in one direction, you simply make it circular. So we're going to take 2 in one direction, 1 back, 2 in one direction, and 1 back, 2 in one direction, and 1 back, and so forth. In this way, if we don't do any moves, once again, we're basically remaining in one general location on the dance floor. Now, one reason that I personally like making the shorter steps in one direction than you do in the other is that you don't have to keep going counterclockwise. And so for people who aren't going to necessarily be doing a lot of moves, I like it because, as we kind of mentioned, you're not going to be moving. You can turn a little bit to the right if you want. You can turn a little bit to the left. But if you do the circular pattern, you're typically going to go in a counterclockwise direction. It's just personal preference, so if you like that way better, go ahead and do that way, but we'll be teaching the smaller steps in one direction. By the way, I'll also let you know right here that in the original series, there's a lesson number 2C. If you're interested, and this is a long shot, but somebody might be interested. If you're interested in a really long explanation about what we just covered in the last 2 to 4 minutes, lesson 2C from the old series is a place that I really break down some of the pros and cons of the different ways that the footwork is taught for those few people that are interested, or if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about why I do it the way that I do it and why that we'll be teaching it the way that we teach it in this series. So thank you, Shelley. I think that was very good. That was a good overview. Again, don't worry too much about trying to remember exactly what we did, because we're going to go ahead and take a few minutes in the next couple lessons and break down the gentleman's footwork, and then with Shelley's help, we'll break down the ladies' footwork as well. So thanks, Shelley. Okay, just in case you're interested, a moment ago I just mentioned lesson 2C from the original series, where I go into a lot more detail about the variations and how the footwork is taught for this dance. Well, about 3 minutes into that same video, I spend just a few minutes sharing just a little bit about the little bit of competing that I did back in the mid-90s. So in the event that you're interested in watching that video, either for the long but brilliant explanation about all the variations in the footwork, or for the information that I share about the little bit of competing I did, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to that particular lesson 2C at the top of this lesson that you can click on. Well, that is an overview of the basic footwork for the rhythm two-step dance. In the next 2 lessons, we're going to cover the footwork for the gentlemen and then for the ladies. And by the way, if you enjoyed this video, a great way to let me know is simply by giving a thumbs up or writing a comment in the comment section below the video. Also, if you're not a subscriber, I'd appreciate it very much if you'd consider subscribing. It's really quick, doesn't cost anything, and you'll receive notifications when the new videos are posted if that's something you're interested in. I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson.